from the ACLU of Texas. I'm glad to be here. I sent you before this meeting a summary of all the meetings we've had with APD, which I do appreciate, and what's come out of those meetings, which frankly hasn't been a lot. And I think I'm here, frankly, to articulate a similar concern to Mr. Young. We've heard in great detail that DHS and Federal Contractor Institute for Intergovernmental Research are both giving final approval to this privacy policy. Now, you're being asked to provide recommendations to City Council on a privacy policy that's A, not approved by DHS, who clearly will approve it, B, without having an opportunity to read it, because I assume that you haven't had an opportunity to fully ingest this document, and third, without the ACLU and other community groups having meaningful input, or at least not having a lot of our concerns make their way into the actual policy. I think this is not the time to go forward with recommendations to City Council unless that recommendation is we need further time to gain expertise about what this is about. And I would encourage you just today alone, I think you should put off the camera issue and finish the discussion of the Fusion Center, especially if there's going to be a recommendation made. I think that this commission is newly formed and really needs to take itself seriously or risk being made inconsequential. These are serious issues. The people of Austin are going to be unhappy if we create anything less than a model Fusion Center. And I'll tell you right now, this is not a model policy. This is a policy created by the Department of Homeland Security. And we haven't made it localized, and I think it's a shame because we created this process to do that. Let's see if you have any questions.
Mr. Lee.
First of all, I don't think you or your colleagues are going to go away, and I certainly hope not, nor are we. We take our responsibility very seriously. You're not ruffling feathers. This commission has made a commitment in the past that we want continuing oversight. That's going to be dependent on continuing aggressive input, challenging you, Mr. Young, folks you represent. I think that we must go ahead and move forward, but that doesn't mean it's not a moving target, and that it's not challenged to ongoing review based on solid experience, good, bad, or indifferent. I think we're going to be in a better position to see where we are as this thing is in operation. Look and see if, like anything else, it requires refinement. And I think that, you know, again, I'm going to get back to the fact this commission previously has said we must have continuing oversight because we agree with you. This is a primary issue with me.
The only continuing oversight I saw in the policy is a once-a-year review of the audit done by the ARIC and presented here. Now, that's a once-a-year, basically cleaned up audit, version of the audit.
That's what I understand. That's them. We is us.
Okay.
Well,
you have to put it in writing.
Can I clarify something? That's not, Matt.
Sure. Yeah, please do.
That's not accurate.
Okay.
The thing on the audit, we said that we would come back on a semi-regular basis, did not say once a year. What we suggested is that we establish, hopefully with your support, a privacy policy advisory committee as we move forward. And so that was something that we did talk about, because we do think that it's important that people do understand what the privacy policy is and what it is not.
When are we going to formulate that privacy council?
That's in
After
the
it's
interlocal agreement.
Okay.
Yes,
So
and everybody has been provided the interlocal agreement, and that's part of that process. The privacy policy is not in there. It's about the privacy policy advisory committee, which DHS didn't recommend. Quite frankly, the folks in this room and around the table basically recommended that.
Thank you.
Great. Well, that's excellent.
Well, I just wanted to ask you, so to make it clear, what's going to the city is the interlocal agreement, right?
I don't know. I guess it's a question I'd have to ask you.
That's correct.
That's what's going. But all the actors, they have to sign off on the privacy policy, which you are still working on.
The interlocal incorporates the privacy policy.
So the commissioners, if the commissioners vote on it today, it really doesn't make a difference because privacy policy is the main deal.
Okay. So the commission is planning on going back and reviewing the privacy policy next month.
The privacy policy, as I understand, is still an ongoing process.
I was told that it would be voted on by City Council on May 27th.
No, the interlocal agreement. What the interlocal agreement basically says is that if an agency wants to participate, they have to agree to abide by the privacy policy, and that the privacy policy will be reviewed and worked through, because I think Commissioner Levy brought up the point that the first product may not be the right one, may not be perfect, but that's why our recommendation is to have an outside entity called the Privacy Policy Advisory Committee to work through these issues. So I think there's some miscommunication. It's not the privacy policy, it's the interlocal that basically puts the requirements on any outside entity that wants to participate. You will abide by these rules, you abide by whatever sanctions for violating these rules. That's what the interlocal is about.
Okay, and so the city council is not gonna be voting on the privacy policy, and this entity is not gonna be providing recommendations on that?
That's correct.
Okay. Well, I would like to, and then maybe I could ask and bring up another issue. Are federal actors and state actors gonna be incorporated somehow in interlocal or the privacy policy, or what's the plan for that?
The plan is anybody participating at ARIC has to agree to the conditions there within in the interlocal, which basically says if there's a federal entity that wants to participate, they have to agree to the terms of the privacy policy.
And will they be bound to it in the same way that partner agencies are?
They will be bound to it as far as that I'm concerned, as far as the executive board that will be established is concerned, yes.
But they're not bound in the same way as other partner agencies.
As far as I understand it, and I'll get into the legal issues, I say yes,
Okay.
they are bound by the same. There's no free pass in this arrangement here.
Mm-hmm.
This center is based on trying to get to the bottom of criminal conduct, organized criminal conduct, serial crimes, including things that could have a terrorism nexus, that have a criminal nexus, and I stand by that. That's what this is about, and anybody sits in that center has to abide by that privacy. There's not a pass.
In order to access the database, the ARIC database, they will have to sign on to the privacy policy. We have discussed it with the federal partners, and they have agreed to abide by our
Is
privacy
it possible to list those the federal partners in the
There's
local
only
agreement?
10 entities in this center right now, and one of the things that we're committed to, the 10 entities are listed from day one. I couldn't tell you who are there. It's Travis County, Sheriff, Round Rock Police.
Right.
That's the 10 folks that are in that center today. Anybody that joins will have to basically sign on to that agreement, the privacy policy, and also there'll be an addendum to any interlocal agreement, because basically you're adding an entity there. Anybody that has that interest, we've kind of talked and said, okay, if you want to come, you have to abide by this. This is the direction to go. And everything we hear is that yes, they will. And the other thing is that if there's an added entity, I'll come back before this commission and say, these people want to join.
Well, I think that in response to that, I would encourage this commission to make specific in your recommendation to City Council that any new partners to the interlocal agreement be brought here, as Carter.
Federal and
Carter
state
said.
as well as.
Yeah,
local
and I think additionally, I would highlight
Here.
that there may be a very different legal relationship between partner agencies that have, similar locals, I'm a city, you're a city, as opposed to I'm the FBI, you're a city.
Right.
So I would encourage you all to have, at least someone with legal experience in that area review that fact as well. Make sure the interlocal works for all levels of government that are involved.
Mike, I don't have any questions for that.
Question for Mr. Sims.
Okay.
We thank you for your
Yeah,
continued
thank you all very much.
diligence. We just received your email this afternoon. We've not had time to thoroughly go through the points, but we did receive them.
Well, I look forward to talking to you
One
guys.
more
Yes.
thing.